Okay, alright. Maki. Now, I've already done my initial video on how I feel about Maki and whatnot, and I've said what I've said. Well, I've been using her a little bit more. I've also put my green Maki up there right now, so she's doing wonders. And so I was like, the one mistake that I made when it came to me using the green Maki before was that she was maxed out. That was a green Maki maxed out, hence why she was doing some craziness. And so coming back to using the blue Maki and the green Maki, base form, just they themselves getting that one initial copy, I have a change of heart. I do have a change of heart in terms of with where the characters are at right now, and this kind of gives you a nice little format to say that with the beginning of this year and the characters that the developers have been releasing, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I'm missing anyone. I think this is the lineup so far. I feel like I am missing someone, but either way, what we're trying to get at is let's just forget about Miwa ever releasing. Let's just pretend that she doesn't exist, right? Let's just only the blue one exists, right? You didn't see anything. The lineup has been fire in terms of the releases with the green AoE coverage, with the support red unit for not only ult rushing, but having some slight DPS damage himself, which is fantastic, as well as the stun and the debuffing. There's a lot going on with Maki. We love him. Shoko, which is a fantastic healer, really elevating and supporting the yellow typing as a mono team, so that is a fantastic character. So yeah, an extremely high tier, top tier support unit, of course. And honestly, by making Maki a self buffer, that really has put her up on the scale of actually being a top tier, honing in a single target DPS damage dealer. Of course, that is right. And Maki, this blue Maki, for the Maki fans out there, rejoice, because she is phenomenal. She's fantastic. I've kind of scrapped the whole ult rushing, because there's two ways you can go about using this Maki, and you can be like, hey, I'm gonna ult rush, which is completely fine, and then, you know, lead that into a little bit of buffing, of course, or you could just immediately go into buffing. Give her like the 24% taijutsu or the 50% critical hit damage, of course. Keep that consistency up in terms of just going for the main DPS buffs, and then that then correlates into the ultimate, just doing fantastic amount of damage, especially when you've got like a bare bone Maki, as you could say, like I have right now. And yeah, even with base damage to typing advantage, doing good. Yeah, I'll give it to them. They really did well with bringing this one home. Giving her kit that variety, those choices of what path you want to take when it comes to, I don't know, being strategic about it. You know, in some cases you might want to run up and get the ultimate a lot quicker. You can utilize that through her kit. Maybe you want to commit more to damage. Realistically, it is skill 1 to skill 2. That will give you it's maximum firepower, but you can also rely on 2 to 3, because 2 to 3 will give you that 50% crit damage. And keep in mind, with the ultimate, the forfeit is always a guaranteed crit, of course, so you can maximize that damage output, which you guys have probably seen. But 1 to 2 will give you the critical hit rate up increase along with the 25% taijutsu, so that is again firepower. But you can also do a 2 to 3, which is also an additional firepower. But keep in mind, the only unfortunate thing is that you can only utilize 2 of the buffs, even though the turns are there on how long you can keep the buffs for, which is what, 3, which is pretty nice. But they've only capped it at where you can only prioritize 2 of the buffs. If only they made it so that they gave it an extra turn, so that way you can actually maximize all 3. That would make Maki insane, but it is what it is. So obviously 1 to 2 firepower, 2 to 3 firepower, 1 to 3 is the ult rush. So again, variety of choices, self buff. Obviously there's situations where obviously the enemies themselves can have some form of nullification. On top of that, can't go wrong with the the duo attack that she could do. Again, if you want to correlate that with a second DPS character you might have on the team, then you can give them that little bit of damage boosting, of course. So again, can't go wrong with that. Honestly, the passives where she can evade and whatnot, it's just like, I kind of like it. It's a bit of an extra bonus, because you just won't expect it, and then she'll just avoid damage. It's pretty nice. I'll give her that. It's pretty nice, of course. But again, barebone Maki with the blue, this blue version of barebone Maki, of course. Yeah, doing absolute wonders. Not to say that the green version is not bad. It's just the way that they've built up the blue Maki. There's just a lot more on the table the blue, sorry, the green one is still fantastic. Again, she still is producing damage. Again, on her first skill, she can make it so that the enemy can take more taijutsu damage. The unfortunate thing is it's more lean towards the green typing, although the correlation between the green typing of Maki and Geto, that's a nice pair. Not, well, I say that, the blue Maki also has us more on the table in terms of the blue in Maki and the blue Geto, to actually put more onto the enemy, so that way the blue Maki himself can self-buff to then do ultimately more damage than the green Maki. So that's also another thing to take into consideration in terms of where each mono team is at, of course. And then of course on top of that, you know, the green Maki does have some AoE coverage. She does once again increase the enemy's damage of taijutsu being taken. Unfortunately, once again, effective for green typing. I say unfortunately, I mean that's fine. Well, no, because on an overall basis, blue Maki outshines green Maki in that regards, because your debuffs won't hit, because it's only specifically for green weakness. Yeah, okay, so yeah, in that regards, yeah, blue Maki once again will surpass. And then like going over to the third skill of the green Maki, she does give her like 100% crit rate. She also gives herself a break damage increase. So the break damage is only for one turn, but again, it's a big hitter for the skill 3, of course. And then of course with the ultimate, the way that she can gain more damage from the ultimate, it's in regards to her HP. So if she's lost HP, yeah, unfortunately you won't be getting the maximum amount of damage output. Whereas the blue Maki, that 4th hit is a guaranteed crit. Again, you can cater more to boosting up a critical hit rate, of course, to make it so that every single hit that she does, and then the final hit being a big hitter, of course. So that's the way I've been looking at it when I've been using both the characters. Obviously the passives are somewhat similar, if I can remember correctly, because she still has early birds, both of them do. And then in terms of the heavily restriction, it's very, I think it's very, I'm pretty sure it's similar. I'm pretty sure they still get 30% depending on how many enemies are on the field. So like with the blue Maki, if there's one, you get 30%. Same with the green Maki. I'm pretty sure that passive still stands for both the Makis, of course. So yeah, there's that. And again, at the end of the day, there's no energies being consumed, of course. And so with all of that, you can just kind of have at it, keep the buffs going on, keep up the debuffs and whatnot. But that is the difference between the two Makis and what we're looking at, of course. In a tier list format, oh, Jesus Christ, where would I want to put her? So I would personally put her like high A, low S. I know that in regards to where JP players are finding her, she's majority of the time being regarded as a that region, that tier list type of character, purely because of the self-buffing that she can do and how well she can be utilized outside of a blue mono. But she's definitely up there with like blue Gojo and whatnot. I think, yeah, in regards to where blue typing's at right now, obviously Sukuna's taking the #1 spot. The blue Gojo is still, yeah, he's easily taking the #2 spot. No doubt in my mind. I'm pretty sure this Maki is taking the 3rd spot. I mean, you can fight your course to say that even the 2nd spot, like it might be joint between her and Gojo, to be honest. Although Gojo's ultimate is pretty ridiculous, but if we're talking in a stipulation situation where it's going to be a taijutsu favor, then yeah, Maki will definitely take that spot. So yeah, to be fair, that's kind of how we're looking right now in terms of her ranking side. So like I said, the developers do be cooking, and the blue Maki has come in and it is producing heat. So that is where I'm at. I think that's my final thoughts. I do enjoy using her, like I said, different characters, not just kind of using the same old repeat of Sukuna tearing this fight up left, right and center. The power scaling has gone up, and so they are producing good characters that are up to par, that are doing good damage. So overall, just by getting that initial copy of Maki, with the self-buffing that she's doing, she is putting out the damage. The self-buffing is fantastic. We can cater more to that through more buffers in being in that situation where we just want to commit to buffing. And yeah, the buffing that Maki can provide, we can at least walk away with 2 of the buffers, of course. Yeah, she does do a great deal amount of buffs herself to execute some good amount of damage. So that's my honest opinion on how I feel about her. So yeah, global. if you're interested in these characters, if they're a fan favorite, you've got things to look forward to, because the developers are starting to put out some good characters now, which I guess is a bad thing, since there's a lot to look out for and a lot to summon for now. But it really depends on how your monitoring is and what you need and what you don't need. But for the future, that's what is being lined up in ahead of time going into on who the first unit will be to start the Shibuya arc, and aka, as I've said before, Gojo might be the man. So this might low-key be a trap banner. Thankfully I got it in 2 multi, so I can't complain.